Hey everyone, and welcome. So you're diving into Python, probably for some serious automation or back-end work, right? Well, just like any good craftsman, you need the right tools. Today, we're going to crack open Python's data toolbox and really get to know the four most essential tools inside: lists, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. Let's get right to it.
But first, just think about this for a second. When you're online and you add a bunch of stuff to your shopping cart or you save a new contact in your phone, how does the app actually hold all that information together? It's not like it can just create a brand new variable for every single item. That would be chaos.
Exactly. Doing it one by one would never work. And that's where Python's collections come into play. I want you to think of them as special containers, like a programmer's toolbox, where each container is perfectly designed for a specific kind of job. Nailing this is, no joke, the key to handling real-world data like a pro.
Okay, first up, we've got the list. If this were a real-life toolbox, the list is your adjustable wrench. It's that super versatile, go-to tool that you'll probably find yourself reaching for more than any other. It just works for all sorts of general tasks.
So what makes a list a list? Well, it's got three main superpowers. First, lists are ordered, which just means your items stay in the exact order you put them in. Simple. Second, they're changeable, or as you'll often hear, mutable. This means you can add things, remove things, or change things whenever you want. And finally, they don't mind duplicates at all. You can add the same item in there 5 times if you want.
This amazing flexibility comes from a few core abilities. With indexing, you can grab any single item just by knowing its position. And remember, Python always starts counting from 0. Slicing is even cooler. It lets you grab a whole chunk of the list in one go. And of course, the power to modify it on the fly is what makes it so incredibly useful.
For instance, check this out. Using a simple command like .append lets you just tack a new item right onto the end of the list. It's a perfect example of that changeable, dynamic nature we were talking about. Your list can grow or shrink to fit whatever you need it to do.
Now, your adjustable wrench is great, but sometimes a job calls for a more specialized tool, right? So let's look at tuples and sets. These guys are designed for very specific but very important situations.
So meet the tuple. At first glance, it looks and acts almost exactly like a list. It's ordered, it allows duplicates, but it has one massive critical difference. It's unchangeable. The fancy word is immutable. Once you create a tuple, that's it. It's locked in, set in stone. Think of it like a custom-molded part that you're never supposed to mess with.
Now you might be thinking, wait, why would I ever want something that I can't change? That's a great question. But see, immutability isn't a weakness, it's a feature. It makes your data way safer from being changed by accident. And believe it or not, it can even make your code run a tiny bit faster. It's all about making things safe and predictable.
Okay, let's switch gears and tackle a completely different kind of problem. Imagine you've got a list, and it's just full of duplicate values. This happens constantly in the real world, with things like user IDs or IP addresses.
So what's the best way to clean this up? I mean, you could write some complicated loop to go through and check every item, but there's a much cleaner, much more Pythonic way to do it. Any guesses? This is the perfect job for our next tool.
And bam! Here it is, the set. A set's defining superpower is that it absolutely, positively cannot contain duplicate items. It's just not in its DNA. So by simply telling Python to turn our messy list into a set, it instantly and automatically throws away all the repeats. It honestly feels like a magic trick, and it's incredibly fast.
All right, we've got our flexible wrench, our specialized tools. Now it's time for the master organizer of our toolbox, the dictionary. If you want to keep your data perfectly labeled and easy to find, this is your guy.
So here's the big idea. Instead of storing items in a numbered line, a dictionary stores information in pairs. You have a unique key, which is like a label, and then you have the value that goes with it. It's just like a real dictionary. You look up a word, the key, to find its definition, the value.
And this is what makes them so incredibly powerful. You don't have to remember that a person's name was the first item in the list, at position 0. No way. You just ask the dictionary, hey, what's the value for the key name? It's just so much more intuitive and readable, especially for complex data.
Okay, we've officially met all 4 of our main tools. Now for the most important part, putting it all together. We're going to line them up side by side, so you'll know in a heartbeat which tool you should be grabbing for any problem you face.
This right here is your ultimate cheat sheet. So if you just need a general, all-purpose, flexible container, you're going to grab a list.
If you have data that absolutely must not change, like a configuration setting, you lock it down with a tuple. Need to guarantee every item is unique? Or check if something exists in a huge collection super fast? That is a job for a set. And for any kind of structured data that needs labels, the dictionary is your absolute best friend.
And let's connect this directly to getting a job in IT or automation. You will use lists all the time for storing sequences of things, like a list of IP addresses or usernames. Tuples are perfect for those fixed settings that should never, ever change. Sets are your secret weapon for deduplicating that list of IPs. And dictionaries? Oh, you'll see them everywhere when you're working with data from APIs or network device configurations. And let me be crystal clear about this. If your goal is a job in DevOps or network automation, you need to make dictionaries your #1 priority. Seriously. Why? Because the key value structure of a dictionary is a perfect mirror of JSON, and JSON is the language of the modern internet. It's what APIs speak. Master dictionaries, and you're well on your way to mastering automation.
Okay, enough theory. The absolute best way to make this stuff stick is to actually get your hands dirty. So, let's give you a simple, practical challenge that uses what we've just learned to solve a real-world mini problem.
Here's your mission. First, I want you to make a simple list of 5 IP addresses, but make sure one of them is a duplicate. Step 2, use that set magic we talked about to instantly get rid of that duplicate. And finally, step 3, take your nice, clean, unique list of IPs and store it inside a dictionary, maybe with another key for something like location. This is a perfect, tiny example of how these tools all work together.
And there you have it. We've just unpacked the most essential tools in your Python data toolbox. You now understand the fundamental building blocks for handling almost any kind of data that gets thrown at you. So the only real question left is, now that you have the tools, what are you going to build first?